Hello and welcome to another edition of the Craft Theory server. This video may not be very long because it's a big project, but not much to show you as we go along because it's just one long rinse and repeat thing. While we're doing that, I've got a mini farm right here, the Happy Slaughter Chicken Farm, where you climb ladders. There's a reason for that. Grab the eggs if any exist. There's plenty. Whip them around, see what you get. Nothing. Come back out this ladder. Because what happens is when you have a piece of wheat, which I am going to put one aside, is you're up on the ladder. You lure them into here, then you lure them here, and the pressure plate has a flint and steel inside it to set them on fire, and you got cooked chicken. Or so, that's the hope that it works that way. And the rest of it is for us. I mean, I really don't have a whole lot to show you, besides that chicken farm. Getting seeds from these plants to make bread. Also, while I'm at it, I was out hunting and getting some ink sacs so I can make some black glass. And we got that thing going on. But while I was looking for those ink sacs, I stumbled across a buried treasure map. Now, it says there's something at the X, and I know that I'm too far one way or the other. So I know I gotta go this way a bit, because I was out in the ocean and everything was good. So now the question is, let's swim. Question is, where is this buried treasure? I know I was out and about this way somewhere. I gotta keep an eye on the bubbles. Here we go. We're now approaching. We're on the map now. So as you can kind of see at the bottom there, we're kind of heading towards it. It's at the very edge of the map, and now we gotta go this way and see where it goes. I'm hoping that this is a quick recording, because something I want to watch on TV is on pretty soon. Thing is, it's right on the edge, so I'm not 100% sure where this might be. Although I'm getting a hint now because it's starting to fill in. And alright, so somewhere in here is buried treasure. Okay, so I dug this giant trench all the way down because I've never experienced a treasure chest before. Only to find out when I looked it up on the internet, it's on the surface. So if I take this and put it here, so somewhere in here, we are back at this island. I have watched videos on finding treasure, and apparently X doesn't necessarily mark the spot. So, somewhere supposedly in this range, there was treasure. And there we have it. But we need to go up. We finally found it. It took forever, and I hopefully remembered, and I think I would have, to scale the video so it, fast forward. But yeah, was a little off target, and I had to dig quite a bit. Let's see what we're gonna get here. Ooh, emeralds, some gold, some of this. Alright, that, Heart of the Sea, and that. And hopefully we won't die going up. There we go. I was gonna say, hopefully we don't die heading back up. And I think you can eat this? No? Don't want it. Iron sword, we could definitely use that. We can put those together. Hard to see, not exactly sure what it does. Hey, I found stuff. And we can... Yeah, you might notice that things look and sound a bit different. I haven't brought this up, and that's because this segment and future ones are done on a new laptop. The old one just was starting to struggle really hard in ways it shouldn't be. Then it started doing blue screens of death. Then it got to the point that it blue screened no matter what, unless it's a file transfer, and that was pretty much it. Computer became pretty useless. So yeah, the mic doesn't sound as good, and Java edition of Minecraft does not really run that well on a Windows 10 machine. I know there's ways to fix it, but I'm not sure exactly how to go about it. Ask for help. Of course, get nothing, because it's my turn, so yeah, the microphone sounds a little cruddy, because it can't really... I can't set the settings high enough to make it sound good. That's the one thing the other computer had, but on the flip side of things is that on this one, if the neighbors are a little noisier, then you're not going to hear most of it. It tends to be a little more condensing, although the condensing on the previous machine actually sounded a lot worse than this. In fact, the first videos that came off that machine, if you heard the audio, it's ridiculously bad. So, hey, we got that done. Now it's time to do some of this stuff once we can just get in here, go to safety, and sleep the night away. We are now pretty much at the top of the tower, and there's two stairwells that go all the way to the top, one at the front and one in the back. And they both do the exact same thing. I am working on a railing that will be on this side of the stairs, because we already have it on that side, and as you can see, it goes down quite a bit, and you can see right there, I'll move the crosshair out of the way, we've gone maybe a quarter of the way up with that. Also, this is through the stairs, you can get right here to the exterior observation deck. And mind you, the way Craft Theory is run, it's not going to look good unless you've been out a little ways and you got your render distance way up. See, Craft Theory runs on an 8x8 chunk basis, so it's not really working too well. And it's built on the edge of the world because, as I've said before, that popular consensus is that the borders will be expanding when 1.14 comes out, so this will really look good when that's done, and if you come from this way. Plus, this is actually probably one of the only builds on the server that takes in mind when it no longer is the server and it's uploaded to Minecraft World Map, and you can look at it at your own leisure, your own render distance, and what have not. So if you got it up at 32 chunks, this is going to look really nice up here. It's very similar to the observation deck I have on my own server, I don't think I actually made a video on that. I should do so. And up here, these would be the interior observation decks. Whoops. And this is the edge. The glass would be right here. Not here, but here. And you get a decent look at everything. And the quote-unquote elevators will only bring you to the lower and upper deck in terms of the interior observation decks. Now, because of the way the stairwells run, the east and west, no, the north and south quote-unquote elevators only serve the uppermost. And you'd have to take this guy down. It's not a perfect setup, but it's good enough for what it is. And down the stairs we go. So I know we're kind of doing this in reverse, but the idea here is that as you're heading up, obviously we're heading down, that if you push every key but backwards, you will climb the ladder elevator. And you'll come out on this first floor unless you decide to go forward in any other button. So, like I said, this is in reverse, but this is what you're treated with as you're going up and down, at least the western elevator. You're treated to a view of, like I said, when it's uploaded to Minecraft World Maps, you can stretch this out to 32 chunks and get a really nice view of what's going on. I'm pushing no buttons. Now, scaffolding will work like an elevator, but you have an obstructed view, and here we are at the lower level. You'd have an obstructed view, and you'd see a platform going by literally every block, and that's kind of annoying. So I'd rather go with that setup. It just works better. That's what we got for you right now. As you can see, there wasn't a lot of flooring, so I'm in the process of making the floors, and that's what we have for now. Okay, now I believe I have this right. Like I say, I suck at this game. Put the plate here, then it creates a flame, which wooden structure, not a good idea, but fortunately for craft theory, fire spread was turned off, so no damage done. But for whenever this gets uploaded and you do whatever you wish, surrounded everything with cobble, so we should be able to be okay with that. And now things should work. Grab the attention of chickens with something that they'll actually eat, perhaps. I think we got that's our magic bullet right there. Now we got their attention. Now we'll send them through the door. And one more time. And there you have it. Some of them kind of went backwards, but you get the idea. Now we have our chicken farm. Now, granted, we don't get the XP for the cooked chicken, but we got cooked chicken. A lot of it, actually. So much so, I gotta get rid of stuff to be able to get any of it. Okay, we want to control the population a little bit so we don't need all these eggs. Gonna get rid of that. And mouse should work at some point. The only problem is now that there's not really a way to shut it off unless you manually go through, which is still a thing. So let's get rid of that. We don't want too many more going through because, well, look at what's left. The bare minimum, which is quite abysmal when you really think of it. We'll get to that in a moment. Alright. And we can control the player now. Oh, that's actually permanently on now. Well, there's always something going wrong. You know, I got it half right. So we'll just leave it at this for now. Just throw a few more. And just get rid of the rest. We got enough to start with. Yep, you can drop it. You don't need this. Keep the seeds because that'll attract the attention and yeah, well, it ain't perfect, but at least it's doing its job at this point. Anyway, ooh, perfect number. That's what life is like here at Happy Slaughter Chicken Farm. Well, I've shown this to you before. We got the wonderful chicken farm there. And now the big thing that I have built, which is why this took so long, that and the W word interfering with my life. Now this is more towards when this map becomes a downloadable, as on the server it's not really gonna serve too great of a purpose. But I built something similar to what I have on my own server, an observation deck. There's actually two decks. There's two decks, interior, upper and lower, and there is a special exterior one. Does not support the automatic jumping very well, because if you go near the railing, you're going to go over. And I'm not going to have that cheaty thing supported. And yes, I know I do that in Pocket Edition, not on Windows 10, because it's way too difficult to control. Anyway, just instructions on how to use these quote-unquote elevators as elevators, and then you're gonna see how that works anyway. I've done videos on that anyway. Exit to lower or upper deck, the east and west ones. Lower deck has access to the outside one, not suitable if you have auto jumping on. North and south upper deck only. So upper and lower decks. And over here on the sides, the north and south ones, upper deck only, no outer access. So we'll take this one. And stairwell for the jocks. And it's a stairway that goes all the way to the top. Well, to the outer observation deck. Anyway, let's take a trip on the elevator. And like I said, when it gets to the point that it's a downloadable map, The render distance will be a lot further than this. The render distance on Craft Theory is very limited to keep lag at a minimum. Although I tested on my server and it was fine. So when you download this, when it becomes a download, and you have it on 16 or 32 chunks, this will really serve its purpose quite well. And here we come. Alright, stop here at the lower observation deck where you can go right up to the windows and look all the way down. Like I said, when you get double the chunk render distance when you download it, whenever that becomes a thing, because as of this video it's far from that point, you'll be able to see quite a bit further. And the view here from the east would be really, really nice. It would look a lot better than that. And for those of you that want outside, you go down this ramp. And here you go. As I said, if you have auto jump, bad idea. It's a long way down. And of course, it's the same if you go all the way up to the second deck. Same view, just a hair higher. Except this time, let's look this way. And the opposite way. And of course, I'll say it again. When it's at a downloadable thing and you can choose the render distance you want, this will really serve its purpose really well. It's black carpeted, so when it gets dark, you can still see everything. It's going to really look good. So, there you have it. That's what I've been doing in a short video, but it took this long to make things happen because of work. And it just took a while to do things because I just don't have a lot of time on my hands. But now that I've finally sorted things out and gotten this thing done, I can go back and do something else a little closer to everybody and probably more useful. That's this edition of what's on the Craft Theory server that I've been up to. And I got armor that needs replacing. Georgia5F1 saying, hope you enjoyed, and have a good one.